Hello, I am Ilma. Before we go into the woods, I would like to tell you 3 important things. First of all, if you just walk around in the woods and have no goal, you won't be motivated, will you? Let's set an initial goal. Well, let's see. How about the hut of the simplest game near the woods entrance? If we walk slowly, we should be able to reach it in about 20 videos. We'll program a game where Viivi will give you a problem and you solve it. Walking is more fun when we have a goal. Then it's decided. Let's walk towards our first destination, the hut of the simplest game. This is the second thing I want to tell you before we enter the woods. When you hear the word game, you might imagine a game like the ones you play all the time, with cute doggies and scary monsters in a beautiful graphical world. But this is the woods of Scheme. Unfortunately, you won't see any characters that you can see with the averaged eyes. Instead, deep within the woods live strange inhabitants you don't yet know. Each of them has their own personality, and they all work in different ways. They all work together to create this colorful woods of Scheme. There is a key word to enjoy the woods of Scheme. It is algorithm. An algorithm is a logical structure in a program. In other words, it's the mechanism of how a program works. If you can enjoy looking at who is doing what inside a program, rather than outside the running software, the woods of Scheme will be more fun than any amusement park for you. Viivi helps you do that. Viivi is your guide to the woods of Scheme, so to speak, designed to allow anyone to look into the contents of the program. The third thing I have to say before we enter the woods. We have only just arrived at the entrance to the woods. By the time we reach the hut of the simplest game, all the inhabitants we will meet may be the same as in any other woods. To meet Scheme-like inhabitants who live only in the woods of Scheme, you need to know a little more about the woods of Scheme. Those who are familiar with Scheme may scold us, saying that our program is not Scheme-like. But I believe you, a programming beginner, will enjoy it. For the time being, please keep these 3 things in mind. Please boot Viivi up. Press the play button once to display the input-output port windows. The current status is ready. You can see the controller and 3 windows on the screen. The first window with a blue background is the argument command window. In the beginning of the tutorial, the argument command window is not used. We close the windows we don't use so that we can use the screen more spaciously. To close the argument command window, click the close button at the top right of the title bar. The argument command window is now closed and invisible. However, the argument command window is not completely gone. It can be reopened at any time. To open a closed window, first click on the controller's window menu. A list of currently available windows is then displayed in the window menu. At the top of this list, you see the argument command window. At the bottom of this list you will see Output Port Window Standard and Input Port Window Standard. The currently open Input-Output Port windows have check marks at the top. The currently closed Argument Command window has no check mark. Click on the Argument Command window item that does not have a check mark. The Argument Command window reappears. Open the window menu again. This time, the Argument Command window and the Input-Output Port windows have check marks at the top of the 3 items. Generally, in this list, an item with a check mark indicate an open window, and an item without a check mark indicate a closed window. Clicking on an item of an open window closes that window, and clicking on an item of a closed window opens that window. Any window can be opened and closed using the window menu, so give it a try. Close the unused argument command window last. If you just want to close a window, it is easier to press the close button on the title bar. Adjust the positions and sizes of the windows to suit your needs. If the current status is ready, click the play button again. The controller's indicator turns blue and the current status changes to inputting to input port. At the same time, a greater than sign prompt appears on the left-hand side of the middle line of the controller, and the input line to the right of it changes to a blue background. This indicates that Viivi is waiting for your input. Type the numbers 3, 0, in the input line, and press the Enter key. The 3 and 0 you typed in the input line of the controller have been transferred to the input port window. You will also see something in the output port window, which will be explained later. When only the green 30 is displayed on the last line, the display stops and you can input again. Can you see the displayed texts clearly? Let's see how to change the size of the texts. To change the font size used by Viivi altogether, use the controller's settings menu. Click on this and select IDE settings from the menu to open the settings panel. The controller tab is open at first, but you can switch to the IDE tab by clicking on it. The settings on the IDE tab are reflected in the overall Viivi settings. Scroll down to display the font size item. The default setting is 15, but it is changed to 18 in this tutorial screen. Please specify a size that is easy for you to read. When you have specified the size, click OK. The font size of the entire Viivi has now been updated. We can also specify the font size for each window individually. In the beginning of the tutorial, the display on the output port window is the most important. So, we will increase the font size only of the output port window. Right-click on the output port window to display the output port window pop-up menu. Click on the settings item in the menu. This opens the settings panel as before. Make sure that the tab with the name, Standard, is open. Click on Specify under Font Size and set the font size to 20, for example. Click the OK button and the font size will be updated to the specified value for the output port window only. In this way, by selecting the settings item from the controller's settings menu, or from the pop-up menu of the respective window, you can use the settings panel to configure various settings for Viivi, including the font size. Oh! It's been a long explanation so far today. We'll take the first real steps into the woods of Scheme next time. Please look forward to it. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time. To continue learning, please subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button. Thank you.